Hello, it's Rob here and welcome to the first video on my build series of the Tamiya Super Avante on the TD4 chassis. We're going to get straight in with parts bag A and step 1. So, I've got the chassis, I've got this lovely blue anodised aluminium motor plate. And the first step is to cut out a strip of 20 by 4mm sponge, which I've already done, and stick it onto the motor plate. No idea what that's for, but I'm sure we'll find out. And then it should just be a simple case, he says, looking at this, of popping it in. Something like so, and screwing it in with two countersunk 3x10mm screws, which are hex head, which is to me a first for Tamiya, so I'm glad I didn't buy a new toolkit. And then we also need two ball joints. One goes there, the other one there. So we'll get them screwed on. And there's the first one. And then we need some of these foam washers. I don't know what Tamiya might be calling them. Dust covers. Hooray! And once you put the other one on, that's step 1 complete. Step 2, we've got 3 rear gears to make up. We'll start off with this one here. It says rear drive cup. So I've got the lovely shaft here. We need an O-ring popping in there. Gone in. Difficult to see, black on black, but there we go. We then need 2 MA13s 1050 bearings, which are these. They should pop over, I believe, like so, and like so. 3 MA16, which are these shims. 1. Then the bar. And then the bevel gear. And then we need an E-clip M11. One of my absolute nightmares when it comes to doing this in front of the camera. So there's the first one. The second one is the shortest of the 3 shafts. Okay, so it looks like we pop this through here. We then need MA20, which is 2x8mm bar shaft, as Tamiya call it. So we can pop that on. Then MA28, which is the idler gear. We can pop that on. go. And then an 840 bearing, MA15. Let's hope that stays on while I do the other side. And again we need a 14, which is the 950 bearing, and there's only one of these in the kit. We need the 3 shims MA16s, then the shaft, then your bevel gear A27, and then last but not least the E-clip MA11. Right, so that's the second shaft done, and then we can move on to the third and final, the spur gear. By the looks of this. Right, so we get part MA29 and pop it in over the hex. We then need an MA15, which is the 840 bearing on that end, and then on this end we've got the MA30, which I think is this little beast here. Why it's on its own parts tree, I have no idea, and it does say to remove the bit of the parts tree, and I'm not sure you'll be able to see it. Oh, there we go, but you can see there's a little dimple, so I've got to try and remove that. Right, well, that took longer than I thought. So that must go down there. I need K15. Oops. Right. K15 and K14. Then MA13, which is your 1050 bearing. Yeah, we've got that, and all that slides over there like so. Oops, we can put that back in later. Right, we then need K12, which by the looks of it goes like so. We then need MA19, which is a 2 by 9mm shaft. Then the spur gear 70 tooth, and looking at this, I don't think there's any specific orientation, so I think we just pop it over. And then we've got this part K13, which goes over like so, and then I think we just need to line everything up so that we can get these, whatever they are, MA3s, 3 by 6mm screws in. And that eventually completes step 2. Okay, step 3 is installing the gears into the chassis. So there's the chassis, we'll come to that in a second. There's a couple of things we need to do first. First off is with this part K2, and for some reason you need to screw in a nut MA10 using a countersink screw or bolt, because it's screwing into a nut, and I've already done that, as I hope you can see there. Now it's not a nylock nut, so I have used a bit of my thread lock to hopefully hold it in position, and I then had to use these small micro needle nose pliers to hold the nut while I tightened it up a bit. I don't know if that's correct or not, there's no notes or anything to tell you, so I'm assuming it has to be tight, so I've done that, ready. The next one before we get into any of the other bits is for K17, and you have to cut 2 strips of this foam, 3mm by 30 and 3mm by 25. I've already put in what I considered the easy one, and the way I'm going to do it is the way I do some of my decals, and that is to snip a bit of the backing paper off and then try and get it in place. Now, I mean, again, I do love Tamiya manuals, but it's not really showing you. That is about 3mm, so I'm assuming you've got to have a bit of overlap on each side. And when I did this one, the 20mm, it was a bit longer than needed, so I think I'm going to start by trying to do this on this one. Just hold it there and try and fold it in. About as best as I'm going to get it, so I'll just nip that bit off there. Well, looks like I've got a bit of a gap, I've just noticed there, but I'm sure when I come to pop it in place it'll all sort itself out. So that's that bit. Now, the next bit is grease up your gears, and then we need to install them. So I've already gone round with me molly grease that you get with the kit, and then it's just a simple case, in some of these at least, of popping them in like so. I'm not sure what order, but it does appear that you put part K2 in first, and you have to angle it in somehow. I can't see, it's not going in. That's a tight fit, guys. So I think we'll go round with 8 of these MA5 2.6 by 8 mils. I think we'll start here. And 8. So I'll get them tightened up and be back for fixing of this piece on K17. Okay, and then K17 pops over like so, he says. There we go. And is held in place by 3 more of these screws. And then once that's done and tightened up, we can move on to step 4. Okay, step 4 is attaching the rear damper stay, and I think we'll probably be getting close to finishing parts bag A with this, but we'll crack on. Before we get really into it, we've got a part here called K16, which by the looks of it blocks off this hole, which yeah, is part of the spur gear housing, and you have to glue it in place. Now it says in the notes to apply synthetic rubber cement to the places shown by this mark. Now I'm not sure what that is, however I've got this Revell Contactor Professional, which I'm hoping will do the same job, but we shall certainly see shortly. And then we really need to leave it to go off, but what I'll do is, if I can find any, is I'm going to get a bit of masking tape and see if I can push that in place, and then I think it's coffee time before I carry on, so I'll be back shortly. Okay, so I've stocked up on my caffeine and we can get cracking on. So we've got the rear damper stay. I've already put the 2 MA21 ball joints on. No dust covers according to this at the minute. So we go and it fits on here, and we use 2 MA6s I believe, which are the 10mm countersunk screws. So I'll get and tighten them up, because the next step is, apart from adding this, which is B7, is putting these wing mounts on, and they go there, but once you put them on you can't get at the screws, so I'll carry on and screw them up and come back to you once I've finished. Okay, so part B7 goes like so, and then we need to screw it in from the underside with 2 MA2s, which are 3 by 8mm. And then we can move over to the second part of step 4, which is the rear wing mounts and also the body mounts. This is a body mount here, and we simply use one of the MA1s, which is 12mm. And what you need to notice here is, can't get it in the light, oh there you can go, you can just about see it there. There's a little key here, and that lines up with a hole in the mount here. So you have to be careful when you're tightening this up, and then we can move on to the rear wing mount, which again is just a single screw with, that'll do us for now. And last but not least is part A26, and there's two of these. I've already installed the one, but you'll also hopefully notice there that there's also a grub screw part MA9 that you have to install as well, and that goes on with a countersunk screw MA7. So I'll get and tighten all of those up, and we can have a look to see what's happening on step 5. Okay, the last step, step 5 for this first video, is installing the motor, the pinion and the upper arms of the suspension. So I've already built these. As per usual, we've got a one-to-one diagram there, so you don't need to do any measuring really. They are proper turnbuckles, so this one side here with the knurled bit is righty-tighty, but the other one on this side is lefty-tighty. So there you go, they're all made up and can just be popped on. So that's those on, and again, note the orientation, so they're at 180 degrees to each other basically. So for some reason it's showing you removing the rubbery bit sleeve off the motor, but as you don't get a stock motor, I have found that any non-stock Tamiya motor doesn't come with one, so there we go. And we're going to need two MA4s, 3x8mm screws, and two MA17s, which are 3x0.7 spacers, or washers as I'd like to call them. Right, where's my pinion gear? Oh dear. Although no, I think it should be alright. Again, black on black, can't bleeding see. Right, that's just about right. And then I'm going to try this. Not sure if it's going to work, but it's the closest thing I've got to hand. Excuse me, I'm going to have to get my goggles now. I'm happy with that, so I'm going to fully tighten them up now. And that, I believe, finishes this first video. I hope you enjoyed watching, and look forward to seeing you on the next one for the start of parts pack B and the first ball diff. So, thanks for watching. Bye!